To introduce our first inductee, would you please welcome Coach Richard Gibbs.
I was expecting to go a little later to see how everybody else did first.
Age first.
Age first. So, Dick? Since, usually this starts off with a toner joke, but since Dick's here, he is older than Larry. The Pleistocene versus the Jurassic. I came a little later. We crawled out of the mud by then. This is always a special banquet, a special honor to be in the Servite Hall of Fame. Coach Turner and I have been around Servite longer than pretty much everybody. I came in 1974. I was 12. And I've enjoyed my time at Servite all along, and we've had some truly great athletes at Servite and some truly great young men who've gone on to do great things in life. And tonight we're here to honor Marty Fuentes he was a great football player at Servite. I think he was his senior year, the Orange County Defensive Player of the Year, and had a spectacular football career. And unfortunately, Dennis Hudson, who was his coach through track for 4 years, was not able to be here. But Marty had a great career at Servite as a shot putter. He held the Frost Soft record at the end of his sophomore year. Went on, had a great career as a senior where he was league champion, ended up 5th at state, set the school record which held up until last year, from 1977 until 2012. That's a long time for any record to last. So I had Marty in class, and over the years Marty was an interesting student, you could say. To tell you what kind of a student he was, he managed to get into an okay school called Stanford, where he did okay and eventually got a master's degree, and he's worked at Sandia Labs in New Mexico for the last 30 years. And it's like, we talk about guys being rocket scientists. Marty's pretty much a rocket scientist. It's not an exaggeration when, wow, that guy is a smart ass. No, he is. Wow. I taught Marty modern European history, and modern European history sometimes can get a little dull, but Marty attacked it with the same zeal he attacked everything in life, which was very interesting. Marty took notes, Marty read the book, test time came, and at that point in time, for those of you who are not old enough to know, we had ditto machines. And if you screwed up the ditto, you had to start over or scrape it off with an X-Acto knife. So eventually, being me, I gave up. And I gave all essay tests. So class would start, pass out the test, Marty knew what was on the test, Marty would start to write. Bell would ring. I had to drag it, tear it out of Marty's hands because he still had more to say. I'm not done yet. And at that point in time, he had rewritten the book, all the notes, everything I'd said, and it was basically, it was great because I didn't have to read it. You just put the A on the top and let it go at that. It was fine. Because you knew what it was. It was the material that you had given out. Marty was somewhat intense, to say the least. And we had a student that gave Marty a hard time, off and on for his entire senior year. And Marty, being as tense as he was, but at the same time having self-control. And Marty finally blew up. And we were out in the extension, the annex in those days, which was the first classrooms to have air conditioning, but it was also the only room you could drag a kid through the window. This is another story for another time. But finally Marty blew up and grabbed the guy, and I'm looking at Marty, Marty's looking at me, Marty's looking at the guy, and I'm thinking, should I actually stop this? And I thought, probably, yeah, that would be in our best interest because that way neither of us would get arrested. You know, he for killing him and me getting fired and being arrested as an accomplice. But Marty finally let him go when I asked him kindly to put him down. Marty had a great career at Servite and has obviously turned out to be a fine man, a great father, and a great contributor to our society. And this honor is overdue, I would think, by a long shot. And I cannot think of anybody better that we can induct into our Hall of Fame than Marty Fuentes.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Frank. You got that. Anyway, I have a little story to tell. A little over a year ago, I had a good friend of mine, write me and he said, "Yeah, my record is ready to fall." And there was this kid that was creeping up on it. And about a month later, he wrote back and said, "It has fallen." I said, "Finally!" That thing has stayed way too long. And so, give me the kid's phone number. He said his name is Connor Ike. And so he gave me the phone number, and I called Connor up. And I said, Connor, thank you for ending this. They should just reset these records after 10 years. But Connor, tell me, who is your dad? He goes, "Kevin." "Why?" He goes, "Well, Connor, 35 years ago, I held the trifecta of the shot put. I had the freshman, sophomore, and varsity record. But there was this kid who was 2 years behind me who broke my freshman record, but said, that's not a problem. That freshman record wasn't very good anyway. And then the next year, he broke my sophomore record. I go, oh, wait a minute. That sophomore record was supposed to stay for a little longer than 2 years. And I said, oh, my varsity record's in jeopardy. They didn't touch it. For some reason, he didn't master, that varsity record. And that kid is your dad. And so he gave birth to you to finish his job. And many of my teammates would claim that, I was kind of intense, which I can see their point. But I was no near close to Larry Toner. I remember our freshman year, if we ever lost a game, we'd have to match the number of points that the other team scored, but hundreds of yards of barrel balls. And I remember we lost that first game. We're about to lose another. 2,200 yards of barrel calls. You know how long that takes? But, I got to say, is that during that first game, we were losing at halftime, and Larry Toner decided to make an adjustment. See, I was playing both ways, both on the offensive and defensive line. And Larry decided to introduce pass blocking during halftime. Not a really good idea. And he was trying to describe it, and I said, that won't work. Horrendous mistake. And don't tell Larry, something that just won't work in the middle of a situation like that. He reached out and grabbed my face neck and started throwing me back. Oh, I was dizzy after that. But I learned never, ever talk back to Larry. Thank you very much.